Good day, everyone. I am Reverend Bobby, and welcome to the journey. And today on the journey, we have my friend AJ. What's happening, AJ?
Good morning, my brother. How are you today?
Man, I'm doing well, and yourself?
Fantastic, my brother. It's a good day.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, that it is. Listen, give the people a little snippet on AJ so they'll know what a grand person you are.
Well, my name is Brother AJ. I've been a institutional awareness individual. Learned from life. I went to JCI, where I picked up the background to learn about metaphysical interpretation of the Bible, which has helped me to understand how I think.
And I'm sure 900% of the people out here don't have no understanding of what a JCI is. Could you kind of clue us in?
I went to the Johnny Coleman Institution of Higher Learning or Higher Education, as I would like to put it. Uh, it was a program that taught you how to look beyond the physical appearance of everything to have a better interpretation for your own self. Because what I learned is no matter what I learned through life, I still have to make my own determination about which way I want to go. And that has
So,
helped
go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
and that has helped me to develop a ministry where I teach healing in a practical term so that people can relate to it without me always Bible thumping them to the head, because I know they don't like to hear good words all the time. So I'm learning how to break it down in a practical way so that they could actually use the information in their daily experiences.
But it's pretty much the same information. You just read language in there, so it does sound like they going to church every day because these principles that you share that be in the Bible, they kind of the way the whole thing is organized. How was you able to develop that smooth way of delivery so people don't run when you say what you say?
Well said, my brother. Uh, First of all, people need to learn not to take everything so personal. I think personality and division is what the biggest problem is. If you just want me to hit the nail on the head so that I can get straight to the point, the division, the duality of the mindset keeps us in a space that has us constantly at war with our own self in our own space. So once you understand that division of thoughts, actions, and reactions control your actions, then you can start paying attention to the thoughts that run through your head so that you could better get a grip on them versus taking everything personally, because it's not personal. Because once we open up to knowledge and don't label it, it gives you an opportunity to see if it has anything to do with you or not. And if it doesn't, your way of being, that's what I'm trying to say, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you act, the way that you listen, the way you respond to things. But by us being in the dual mindset, if you hear something good, our conditioning has put us in a position to where we start analyzing everything that comes. So our intuition is working off the top from the beginning, but then we start thinking, and it creates the problem or the division, because you were given the right information, but now we got to tinker with it in order to make it something that we can accept. So what I do, or what I'm learning to share with people, is stop doing that.
Well, okay, you say stop doing it.
Yes.
All right, so how we do that, man? We behaviorally condition. To do these things. Stop doing it. Okay, that's what I gotta do. Stop doing it. but yet turn on the TV every day and feed the beast the energy. Oh my, look what he did, look what he did. You know, you get all fall out your chair. But yet keep looking at the TV every day. So Big AJ, how we gonna stop it? Bruh, help me. I need to
Well,
stop me.
well, the first thing we need to do is be still and become aware of the awareness that are you really in control of your thoughts, or are your thoughts controlling you?
One of the things real quick for you continue on, because I want you to continue, but earlier on you had said something about paying attention. Man, how important is that for us to pay attention to what the heck we be doing?
Well, that requires a word that you love to use that you know people not going to use, is being responsible for your thoughts and your actions. And it just takes you to get out of your head as an individual, because when you look at life, everything that we've known, or everything that we know besides the research that you do on your own, somebody told you all the information. They told you your name, they told you who you were, then you went through the system of learning things, and it has you thinking in a certain direction. So in order to,
Me and Barbara Jean wrote a book called "Who Told You." You know, like who told you that booger digga booger booger stuff? Did you believe it? I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
but see, that's the fun part of it, because that's what we are here for. We are here to reconnect to our higher self, but we get bombarded with all this information that really has nothing. All the information does is pull you away from your time to be still, so that you forget that you can be still, so that you could actually start paying attention to what's going on inside of you, not what's going on in the outside world. Because that's going to happen whether you hear or not, because we've all lost loved ones. We miss them, and we still think about them, and they're not gone. We just can't see them in the physical aspect anymore, but they're in our hearts, and they're in us. Because if you interacted with somebody, they left an ingredients or a piece of them with you during the time that you were with them. So the attention part is that true or not? And just ask yourself a simple question. Am I the person that I'm looking at in the mirror, or is this just an image of myself? The image that I got created in based on my environment, the circumstances, and what you pick up along the way. So that
When did you find that you had some power over all of that stuff? Because a lot of times people go, well, because of this and this, I'm a crazy person, but never do anything about the this and this. When did you find out you could do something about the this and this and that and the other?
when
Yeah, about when, in the life cycle of things.
well, after you get tired of beating your own self up, to be honest with you, just to be serious.
Look, that pinpoints it. That pinpoints it for me.
Well, because what we don't realize is we are our best friend and our worst enemy at different times.
Yes.
And we don't realize that. But for me, it was just the discovery of actually taking the time out to learn something different, which I started going to the Johnny Coleman Institute, just to discover a new way of thinking and being. It was more so being a certain way, because if you don't take ownership to your own identity, the higher energy, I ain't talking about this physical body, because that's what got us in trouble now. We believe that the body image is us, and it's not, because at every service we leave a body there, but the memory and the person, only thing we don't see is the life force that was in that body. So the sooner we can relate spiritually, mentally, and emotionally to that thought pattern, to the awareness of that, because it helps us as individuals to realize that this It's just an image that I need to have, a uniform, as some people would say, that I need while I'm here on this earth plane. But we all have intuition on various things at different times, and that's really who we are. That energy that we don't see, and this is just a uniform that we hold on to, that we've identified with as us, and we take it and make everything personal. You attacking me, you said this about me, but words can hurt you and harm you only when you allow them to.
Sabrina used to call it your earth suit.
Yeah.
Like the suit you wear while you doing this third dimensional experience to get us around and do those things.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Oh yeah.
When you were doing your Revelation series, and you discovered some things in there that I'm sure most people are not aware of about identity and what was the words you used? Attention. Is there anything in Revelations that would help anybody that may miss something that they could use to help them stay centered?
Well, the thing about the Revelation, I think, is not necessarily anything in there that would help them per se, like this line or this line or this line. What I think would help people most is a surer or a better understanding as to what the revelation is. As I spent the time in that book, it's the most loving book in the Bible because it is the revelation of Jesus Christ is given to John, not a revelation of who Christ is that he is telling John, yeah, this is who I am. This is the revelation of Jesus's oneness. This is the revelation of Jesus's oneness with God, that God lay on Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus could say, whoa. And then now sharing it with John, which in most areas of spiritual stuff and things is related to love. So now John Love got this message, of Jesus's oneness, not Jesus himself, who Jesus is, but the revelation of Jesus's revelation of his oneness with God. So he could say, whoa, man, I'm like this. Let me share this through love so people can pick up for themselves, who the heck he proved they are. Okay, that's enough. He's a tricky dude.
No.
Yeah, you is. Yeah, you is.
No. It was the identity of what you said. See, you spoke it in a term, you gave it a meaning other than what I said, so people should be able to hear from that, because the revelation of all of that is it's all about love, and that was thrust upon him, and he dealt with it. And once he identified it with it, like you said, it was a whoa, because now you're responsible for everything that you do and create.
Well, ain't nobody trying to hear us about love. When I first did it, you remember I had to run out the studio at night. Everybody standing out there ready to get me talking about this is the most loving book. Don't you see them devils? You're not teaching devils. You're not teaching demons. You going to hell. Man, listen.
Well, see, that's where that labelization comes from, because they all picking identities of something that's not true.
But it's like that. What they call that stuff? Something resonance where I call it the tribulation, where you say, oh man, I had this stuff wrong the whole time. So you be like, oh my God, I had it wrong the whole time. Oh my God. And so then it makes it even harder to accept. But if you look at, just up front in the book of Revelation, then we're going to move on. at each of the end of the churches, it said to he who has an ear, it's an ear, a developed ear to hear the message of love. Ain't nobody trying to hear no message of love, because if you heard the message of love, if you understand the message of love, you don't gonna be trying to blow nobody up. People be wanting to blow each other up and stuff.
Yeah, but see, you said the magic word, listening. So
right, but how do people listen? On the edge of their chair, ready to respond, not hear a daggone word AJ said.
Well, that's when they need to sit back and relax. That's why you have to do things in repetition in order to make a manifestation come effect. You just can't say something one time and expect for it to, It's just like planting any seed in the dirt. You put the seed in the dirt. Hopefully the soil is good enough so that you get some manifestation, but you still got to nurture it step by step in order for it to grow. It's the same thing with us. It's a step-by-step process. You just ain't going to wake up one day and say, oh, I'm totally healed. You could.
No, but that's not how and you know that ain't how it works anyway.
Well, you could if you have enough energy to believe that and nothing is ailing you to make you doubt that, then you could wake up. But we, like you said, we both know that process is not how it functions.
Now on that note, yeah, we could. Okay, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, because like that's that wow moment for you to get up off of get yourself off of that nail you've been sitting on that's holding you in whatever space you are in, so that you can have an opportunity to do some self-evaluation on yourself. Because that's what it's really all about. Ignorance is ignorance, regardless of who does it. And I don't mean that in a negative, but lack of knowledge is ignorance.
But you said about sitting on the nail. The nail helped me because it kept me from blowing away in the hurricane. Even though it be pain in my butt. Yeah, I don't want to get up off the nail, because then I might have to maybe be responsible for the left or the right, road that I take. I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, you're perfectly correct. Because until you get tired, you will sit there. And that's what some people do until they get tired. I mean, and it's all a process. And I think that's what keeps getting missed out of the whole thing, is you have to continually concentrate or be in the space of where you want to be. So wherever you want to see yourself, that's where you're going to be. But you have to take the time, be still, sit back and reevaluate yourself so that you give yourself a chance, and then don't beat yourself up in the process, because today you're going to do it. Tomorrow you may not. You might do it for a half a day.
Yeah.
But so the more you practice anything, the better you're going to get at being who you say you want to be. But it just don't happen overnight. I mean, if that was the case, we'd all be wherever else we want to be at.
Yeah, Rib R. Ken Turner calls it the introspective work, the piece that was deep for me, that we don't like to do, because it's the taking a look at yourself. Because while we be his fault, her fault, I'm going to control him, I'm going to control the situation, I'm going to control this, the only thing we can control and have mastery over is ourselves. Now, see, that could be quite a tribulation kind of thought too, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because now you're putting the ownership where it's supposed to be at, on the individual self. Because, nobody's, like I said, by us being programmed to be what we see today, except for the awareness of the ones that do decide to wake up and pay attention to their own self and be responsible, like you said, you're going to always have issues no matter, which direction you go in. But the whole thing is, how are you handling any of it?
Because the issues and stuff I found is just resulting of you being on this side of the veil, breathing and stuff every day in this third dimension. If you're going to get messed up in this life, because you facing something, an issue or something like that, I guess that is why people just fall out and drop out and have heart attacks and bounce on out. because that's what this life is. And so, like you just said, making it through, finding your way through. I was talking to one of my other boys, and he's like, we muddle through, Bobby, just step by step, a little bit at a time, till we get to a place, say, aha, I'm going in the right direction. What give you that fortitude and that endurance and perseverance, AJ?
I'll just give it to you. I'll give you one affirmation, my brother. I am spirit.
I'm kind of slow. I may need two.
Okay. I am spirit, perfect, whole, and in harmony. Nothing can hurt me or make me sick or afraid, for spirit is God, and God cannot be sick or hurt or afraid. I am a manifestation of myself through this body. Notice I what I did was I put myself in there. I said I, because if we don't take ownership to anything, then you just talking.
Well, they call it I am, don't they?
I am, yes. That's yeah.
So then that's kind of what we should be. We should be I am. I am this whole and healthful and kind of cute when I cut my hair type of thing. I like your hair too, by the way. I was talking to my other boy Sidney. He grew his life for the past 24 because he said when he got out of rehab and stuff, to honor his commitment to himself, he got 24 of growing his locks on his head. Deep brother. But I am these wonderful things. I am, like it says back in Exodus, I am that. I am that healthy person. I am that person of wholeness.
Question.
No, wait a minute. I'm finna ask you a question because you the deep person. Look at that beard. I could tell. But how do you start? Do the affirmations help you start to believe that about yourself, or do you say those affirmations from a place of truth within yourself that you actually are that?
The second one, I am, because I think those three letters, I don't think nobody really grasps what that really means.
Well, share with us what you know it to mean.
I am. It was the name. That's what God said he was. I am. When Moses asked, who should I say? And he says, I am sent you. So if he said, if that's who I am, that's who I am.
Plain and simple.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say my mother gave me the name of Anthony. I am. I knew you before you was born. So if I knew you before you was born, since I am you, but you don't know I'm you, you done took ownership to this physical aspect of yourself that gives you privileges to walk around and think that you XYZ, which is perfectly okay, because that's what we're here for, to have experiences, to go through situations, and to become back to the place of being whole with oneself. So I think we get lost in the shuffle of life just so we can go through the maze of rediscovering ourselves, but don't nobody like to rediscover themselves once you find out the stuff you've been doing ain't where you really want to go.
That's the prodigal son stuff, man. We be loving them husks, Jack, with the pig slot, man. Look, we do. We do, man. Like I say, the Bible is the story of man's generation, degeneration, and regeneration. Now, I don't know about nobody else, but man, in that degeneration stuff, being a degenerate, I kind of had a lot of fun, And that's where we get stuck in the process.
Yeah, well, the process is fun because that's what we used to doing, and you can't take that away from yourself, because other than that, you won't have no experiences to relate to anything. So if you don't go through some things, you don't know nothing. So it's just like, I had no exposure to anything, so I can't be something that I don't know about, and
Right.
that's why we're sharing these conversations for anybody that may listen to it, so that you could pick up whatever you pick up from it. It's nobody's trying to guide. I'm not trying to guide anybody anywhere. I just want you to understand that you have more power than you realize, and it's up to you to make a determination about, do you really want to learn more about you, or do you want to continue to be in the, what was the word you said? That word of being in that space of having all these experiences and continuing to have them.
Yeah.
And but as you continue to have them, you lose yourself, because you're being in that space versus being in your space, whatever your space may be. But some people love that space, and we can't take that from them. They just being who they are, or the circumstances, or the rope around that noose is just so tight that sometimes you don't want to let go until you get sick and tired.
Yeah, and it's kind of what you know, because in that state of beingness, it's kind of I call it the puppet string life, because stuff gets you be dancing, man, all the time, man. Yeah. And you never could slow yourself down to get your bearings until you kind of like, cut them strings, and for a minute you be just all laid up underground and stuff in a pile. But when you come to yourself, like the prodigal son dude, you get on up, like the dude with the bed, pick up your bed and walk. You walk a while, you picked up your bed, you walk, then you look at your bed and your arm, and you say, man, bump this, drop the bed. You don't need it no more, because you're not gonna be wallowing in your own stuff, because now you got some different stuff and you ain't got to wallow.
Right. Yeah. When you take the judgment off of self, you can allow yourself to see something different.
Now, does that take forgiveness of that same self of yourself, of
Oh
you?
yes, you must forgive yourself and accept it. Because see, you can't deny that you didn't do something, and you did do it. So you did it, it's done. So why you want to keep reiterating it in today when you did it yesterday or 7 years ago? Ain't nothing wrong with having a memory flash and it come back to you. It's like, okay, but if it's making you depressed, then you might not want to go there. Then you might want to use an affirmation so that you don't take yourself. I know I wouldn't want to wake up every morning and not be happy.
But AJ, while I was going through and while I was in that place, I felt like the downside of pine scum, man. How can I forgive myself? I just acted nuts.
Yeah, until you had a revelation.
Right. This is nuts.
No, it really wasn't. It was just, we have the experiences based on the circumstances and conditions and the environment that we grow up in. So we adapt to the situations that we in until you decide to not adapt anymore. And when you want to stand alone and be the tree that you are, every individual is a tree rooted in something, but you don't want to end up being that fig tree.
Yeah.
So at some point, just like the leaves shed and they about to start blooming again in a month. So now it's time to regenerate some newness in oneself identity of yourself so that you give yourself new possibilities to create new stuff.
I love that word new, because new is as in never before experience. AJ, we about at the end of the journey for today. This was just blew me out the water with the wisdom and stuff you bring to the table all the time that I appreciate so very much. Listen, give the people a quick out on something they can hold on to till we get to do this again.
Yes, remember to love yourself no matter what the situation is or any circumstances that show up. Step back for a moment, take 3 deep breaths, and say everything is going to be okay. and it will be, as long as you don't keep running that idea through your head constantly, because you forgot that you just said an affirmation to empower yourself, but then you're going to let this thought come in and interject some foolishness so that you can go back where you just said you didn't want to be. So just remember to love yourself, be patient with yourself. I think that's more important than anything else, because if you don't have patience, you will misguide yourself in multiple directions, and then you'll end up like Jack Nicholson and be one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Well, on that note, I'm going to say, like we used to do years ago, saw you later, people. Listen, journey well, people. I bless you to journey well. AJ just gave you some good stuff to take you out. And look, AJ, we're going to do this again.
Yes. Before you leave, could you just give us a quick prayer and pray us out of here?
Father, Mother God, we thank you so very, very much for this time we had together. We thank you for the expansion and the inclusion of all people watching, because you are the Lord of Lords, the God of God, and in the beginning, it is only you, in the name and through the power that's in the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ. It is done, and so it is. Amen. All right. You made me go reverend on the people. You're a little sneaky again. Love you, bro.
Peace, my brother.